Blog Talk Radio.
Please bless this space, this sanctuary, around, below. Please bring us peace and protection. May all who enter be nourished with love. Hallelujah. Amen. Oh, blessed be, allow it in. Hallelujah. Amen. Oh, blessed be, so it is. Please bless this space, this sanctuary, all around, beloved. Please bring us peace and protection. May all who enter be nourished with love. Hallelujah. Amen. Oh, blessed be, allow it in. Hallelujah.
Aloha. Good evening. This is Andrew Aloha live out of Sedona, Arizona, with Spiritual Elements Productions on Blog Talk Radio and freeconferencing.com, establishing and maintaining right relationships through human values. Aloha and welcome to all of you guys. Area code 312 and area code 425, and also Simi Kathy. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it, you showing up. And then, of course, welcome to Charles Muir and Leah Alchin. Aloha, how are you guys doing?
We're doing great. It's a wonderful evening.
Awesome. And I know it's beautiful over there where you're at in Santa Cruz. I'm assuming you're in Santa Cruz right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're up in the mountains of Santa Cruz, not down by the water.
Awesome. So anyhow, thank you for stopping by and taking this time to share with us. And we're going to talk to you quite a bit more here in a little bit with hang on a second. Let me see. Methods of female sacred spot massage for sexual healing and awakening. I'm assuming that's correct. Is that? I mean, I know you guys, because I've already heard some of the stories that some other people, because I've interviewed a few other people, and they've talked about that in their show, and they've talked about how you were really instrumental in helping them out. And we will. We're going to go more into detail on a lot of the stuff. But right now, what I'd like to do, and welcome, Leah. Aloha. How are you?
Aloha. I'm happy. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
You bet.
I'm going to just announce our underwriters right now, and then we're going to take questions for the second part of the show for those of you that are interested in calling in or that are here and want to ask questions. We're going to take questions during the second part of the show and just kind of open it up. So anyhow, we're starting out with revitalized biogenic water at www.revitalizedbiogenic.com. Born out of Soviet space industry, revitalized water, the product of 30 years and billions of dollars of Russian research, is believed brings about more of the science of water together in one product than any other water available today. The well-defined, perfect crystal-shaped water enables rapid absorption and usefulness by our cells. Thus, the increased osmotic drive created by imprinting the water with high amplitude frequency assists the cells with a healthier foundation for nutrient uptake and release of toxins. It speeds up the delivery of nutrients into the cells and potentially increases your energy. And then we have Stephen West at www.powerheal.com. By divine design, you can power heal yourself. Do you or any of your loved ones suffer from pain, depression, stress, cancer, obesity, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, AIDS, inflammation, tumors, arthritis, broken bones, head injuries, or anything else? Do you want peace, love, joy, energy, fun, endurance, power, or inner beauty that is truly coming from within as well as without? Fast, proven, successful, and safe Power Heal methods through zero disease can help you stop pain, loss of energy, and disease in less time than taking pills. And then we have Mia Davies at www.mia, and that's M-I-A, Davies, D-A-V-I-E-S, MiaDavies.com. Build an online income in under 90 days. Over the past several years, Mia Davies has been inspiring leadership in others, watching them rise to new levels in their lives, creating financial freedom for themselves and achieving the things they never thought possible. That's what keeps her going. She was fortunate enough to learn from the best offline and online marketers. She says online marketing is the way for the future. When traditional offline approaches are coupled with a one-of-a-kind business or product, success is inevitable. And then we have Neil Baker at Neil Baker, www.neilbakerpsychic.com. Neil Baker tunes into your vibrational energies and translates them using his talents as a gifted psychic. He gets to the core of specific issues in order to provide you with deeper meaning and understanding along with a course of action to follow. He tunes into the content of your soul, evaluating it in terms of past life events and present life circumstances. Then he determines even deeper rooted layers of information that reveals meanings behind your present life connections and their ultimate outcomes. And then we have Crystal Dawn Morris at www.tantrafororawakening.com. And I do want to give a shout out to Crystal Morris today. Her mother passed away yesterday, and I think it probably was a very beautiful thing for her because she assisted her in that process. And I'm assuming that everything that's working out with her is in a really just a really nice process for all of them. So anyhow, certified sky dancing Tantra teacher of Tantra for Awakening, Crystal Morris has the mission of helping people live a more conscious, connected, and juicy life. She actively supports you in experiencing more love, joy, and freedom in your life, offering practical tools that are easy to use and give immediate results. After attending an event or coaching session with more students and clients, report being more open and present to the bliss that is available in their every moment. Her commitment is to create a world based on love, respect, and compassion for all beings. And then we have Pamela Desault at www.passage2innerjoy.com. Pamela Desault is a spiritual counselor, psychic intuitive, healer, teacher, author, and creator of Passage to Inner Joy, where you learn how to have inner joy and peace. Her mission is to help people align with their bodies and higher self through healing and counseling sessions that help them overcome their fears and other limiting factors in order to make room for abundant love and joy in their lives. Some healing techniques she uses include massage, Reiki, shamanic healing, polarity, remote body activation, meditation, self-hypnosis, and EFT. She also offers classes in intuitional development and connection with the angels. And then we have Celeste Horsham at www.artsedona.net. And I just want to tell you guys, I like to just get these out of the way because these guys help support the show. And but also, once I get them out of the way, then we can just go tune into the show and just focus more with talking to Charles and Liam. So Celeste Horsham is an internationally known visionary artist and well known for her clairvoyant readings. She is also a teacher and published writer with a master's degree in fine art from Penn State University. Her soul portraits, original paintings, and published writings bring about the cosmic beauty and universal wisdom and unconditional love of spirit into human awareness, which inspire a deep communion with the eternal divine spirit. And I do want to let you know also that we're going to be talking to Celeste on Sunday. If you're interested talking to her about her book, Into the Maelstrom, on Sunday. That's amazing, and just an amazing array of events that take place in the book. That we can talk about that later. You also have Kiliyama at www.spiritualproductions.com/Kili_Ama. A Reiki master, psychic medium, and indigo, Kiliyama grew up knowing things before they would happen. She remembers seeing and talking with Jesus, whom she terms as Sananda, while she was still in the crib. Later in her 20s, he would also point out differences between what was meant in the Bible and what was actually written. Additionally, as a child, she traveled astrally in her sleep, helping children who were being used in dark magic. She uses crystals, rattles, tuning forks, essential oils, herbs, and tuning in her healing sessions, and her passion is to help others along their awakening path. And then we also have Crystal Shilton at www.crystal-vision2010.webs.com. Having been on numerous radio and television shows, paranormal investigations, and press interviews, psychic medium Crystal Shilton has been at this profession since she was just 15 years old when she discovered her ability. She resides in Hampshire, England, and bought her own house at the age of 21 from the earnings she received from doing readings. Thereafter, she began working for various prominent psychic lines in England, and in 1996, she also successfully helped lead to the arrest and convictions of 9 murder cases, with one more pending. She has done over 120,000 readings since she began her career. And then finally, we do have Lori Lorich at www.femininewisdom.com. sacred sexuality educator Lori Larch is a natural teacher who will guide you on a journey that integrates both ancient Eastern esoteric practices with discoveries in Western medicine and science. She has developed a unique approach to healing, empowering others. She also knows her subject intimately. She listens mindfully and thoughtfully to each individual, cultivating their life force to help discover their bliss. And I want to thank you all for stopping by. Again, I want to give a shout out to Simi Cathos. Thank you for Simi Kathy. I think that's how it's pronounced. Thank you for stopping by. So aloha and welcome, Charles and Leah. How are you?
It's all good.
It's all good. So I know that you have both, and I don't know a lot about you, Leah, but I know Charles. I've interviewed a number of people, and your name keeps coming up, and I just go, whoa, I got to talk to this guy. If this guy seems to be the spearheader of all these magical things happening, and I'm sure you have your fair share of magical things going on with you as well, Leah. So I said, okay, let's talk to you guys. So you're here, and basically, if you can just give me just some background about each of you, and however you want to do that, and then we'll just go we'll go deeper into the subject of Tantra. And I don't know if you want to call it the G spot or the spot or sacred spot, whatever spot, but it's fine with me. However you want to do it, that's fine.
Good. Leah has been my co-teacher for 8 years now, and I'd love her to introduce me, since you did such a good job in introducing all of your sponsors. Leah, would you mind introducing me?
Sure. Charles is the pioneer of the modern Tantra movement in the U.S. today, and he is the originator of sacred spot massage. Dr. Grafenberg found the G-spot in the last, Charles, 30, 40 years. And so we're familiar with the G-spot, but many people don't know what to do once they find the G-spot. And Charles, through his studies as a yogi, started to make some connections about this area called the Yoni Nadi and where it's placed energetically as a gateway to fueling the enlightenment of people and to really align the chakra system. And as he took this knowledge as a yogi and started to adapt it to what he was experiencing as a tantrika, it's like things started to click. And he spent the last 32 years being really courageous and at the cutting edge of sacred sexuality research. And through a lot of trial and error and success and probably some blunders, he has developed this sacred spot massage movement that now exists today. He's credited for this modality, which is now the cornerstone of most tantrika's curriculum as an educator. And it's very exciting for me to be able to partner with Charles and to learn from his experience and to have a platform to really share this beautiful knowledge that's changing people's lives. When you look at the amount of sexual abuse that is prevalent in our culture, and you look at the way so many individuals' sexuality is shut down due to lots of different reasons, everything from a wounded heart to sexual abuse, this is really transforming lives. So I'm excited to introduce Charles and to provide a greater audience to his body of knowledge and the incredible work that he has pioneered over the years.
That's awesome. Now, welcome both of you, because I know, I mean, sexual abuse is such a major. It's just a major problem in the United States, and so I know that something like this is very instrumental. So I tell you what, and this is when I do these shows, I just put myself in the seat of somebody that doesn't know anything about you guys or Tantra or anything. So that's kind of the format that I'm looking at accomplishing with you guys, because there's a lot of people that that I've talked to, even in the last few days, they go, well, they don't like Tantra because of this, but they don't understand Tantra. And so, Charles, this is what I'd like to ask you. First of all, where did you grow up at, and what was your upbringing? How did that help culture and nurture where you're at right now?
Oh, that was a lifetime ago, and my early years were spent in New York City, and I spent 5 years in a street gang. Was in the Army a couple of years in the late 60s, and got into yoga in 1966. So that kind of changed my life and turned it around from being a street kid to living on an ashram.
Wow.
And from the ashram, I went into the Army, and when I came out, I started working with television's Richard Hiddleman, teaching yoga at his schools, and I did that for about 10 years, and then moved off because I wanted to teach beyond his curriculum, and began to share with people what I was learning in the bedroom about yoga, how to bring the consciousness and the breathing and a deep sense of the energy body and the chakras that one gets from doing white Tantra, which is kind of metaphysical Hatha yoga, and how to bring those things into sexual sharing. Because what I was finding was, though I'd been on a spiritual path for a long time, in the bedroom I was a different person. I was still that street gang kid that really never got an education on how to love. And life became my curriculum. I listened to women. I learned. I practiced an awful lot of Tantra. It became my primary field of yoga. And my students have been my teachers for 32 years.
Wow. Awesome.
I pay attention and have a good ability to organize things that are disorganized.
Awesome. Now, I got it. Before we go further, I do got to say this because my buddy Bear Cloud, he has a galleria here in town. It's a new one. It's across the street from Talakapaki here in Sedona. It's called the Mystic Earth Galleria. That's where I'm at right now, and there's some just beautiful pieces of art. And I'm sure if I look, I probably won't even have to try hard to look, but I can probably find some nice tantric pieces that would match what you're talking about. So let me get this straight. You grew up I would say loosely on the streets, and you went into an ashram, and so how I'm not clear in terms how did that happen for you?
Well, I got into yoga, and there was an ashram 90 miles or so from my home, so I started going there every weekend. I was working days and going to college at night, and this yoga thing just swept me off my feet, and it became the major part of my life. I started studying with as many gurus as would come to New York, and in the late 60s, they were all coming over from India.
And they still are. They still are. No,
yeah, but you see, they teach celibacy. They teach that sexual energy is precious, and therefore you should conserve it. And they also address the lower chakras as bad, as if the same God that created your third eye didn't create your second chakra, your genitals. It's all holy. So those swamis believed you just save the energy. Tantra yoga was not for swamis or people living in a cave or in an ashram. It was for householders, and it was a way of playing with sexual energy to create union with your partner and increase sexual energy, which is the fuel for enlightenment. The energy that's generated down there in that second chakra can create life itself. Absolutely. So Tantra teaches how to harness that and really how to use love as a sacred path, love and sexual energy along with consciousness.
And now, is that how you define Tantra in the exact terminology?
Well, if I was giving it a definition, tan and tra, two Sanskrit syllables, expansive and weaving, and then the word yoga goes after Tantra if it's real Tantra. Tantra yoga, the union that comes from expansively weaving your energy with another's energy.
Absolutely.
Connecting all of the chakras, not just the second chakra.
Okay.
And taking that creative energy from down there and moving it up through your body to your brain and all of the other chakras.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so now let me ask you this. How would you define yoga for yourself?
The ability that one acquires to feel deeply into oneself so that you can live the peace, the joy, and the love that God placed in our heart as our very essence, as our self, being in union with that part of ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so now let me ask you this, because this sounds really interesting, and it's probably unique. And I don't know if you were the only one, but you took that with you to the Army. And how was the experience in the Army for you utilizing those practices?
You know, I don't even want to go there because none of that's really relevant to where we're going now.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just say I was glad to get out of the Army, and I'm glad to be here now.
Well, I apologize because I figured that might help you. That would be useful to help to help you in just maintaining a focus in whatever you're doing in the Army. But obviously there was a lot of stuff going on there. So anyhow, you got out, and then now you're working and talking with people and women, and then the sacred spot. This is like like your I can't even think of the word, but anyhow, this is like your emblem, your trademark. And how are you coming upon this, and how are you discovering this, and how are you working with, and where is it leading to, and where is it now for you?
Well, you know, it started with a woman showing me certain things, that if you do this and this, something amazing will happen. And it was my first multi-orgasmic woman and the first woman that ever ejaculated, and she kind of showed me where to aim. And by golly, I tried that technique with every woman I was with after that and got a varying degree of effectiveness. But I gradually came to realize, as my own sensitivities increased, that this was the gateway to a woman's second chakra. And I also was observing it was a gateway to her emotional being, because massaging this area in a certain way with a certain amount of skill can often bring up the residues of the psyche of one's past, all of the imprints, guilt, fear, shame, abuse, confusion, being used, bruised, or abused by men. All of that can be stored in a woman's second chakra. Everything having to do with men, everything having to do with sex and passion. And it's a chakra that really needs some urban renewal in most Americans. A chakra that needs to be consecrated to love and wholeness and regeneration. You know, I started putting it out there, and I started watching it work, and I started watching miracles happen, Andrew. So I spoke with greater and greater authority. It wasn't just, hey, try this. It was, do this in this way, and tomorrow morning you'll come in here and have had breakthroughs with your boyfriend or your husband. Or often singles take my course, and singles do this homework. I teach the men how to create a ritual for the women and to really be there to caretake them. And, you know, Leah is someone who has a history of sexual abuse as a child and has been through Sacred Spot healing, continues to work with it on her own life, and also teaches women how to work with each other. And I'd love her to speak a little bit because she's such a wealth of information.
Awesome. And Leah, jump right in whenever you're ready.
Well, when I first started on this path, when I first went to my first seminar, I just thought, this is going to be so exciting. I'm going to learn more about conscious sexuality and how to run more pleasure. And I thought that was just about what I was in for, and really how to invite God into the bedroom, because I wanted to go deeper within my sexuality, and I wanted it to connect to my spirituality. I was hungry for that. What I didn't expect was that my deepest, darkest secret was going to have to be revealed. It was like that darkness had to come to the light if I really wanted to be sexually whole. And this was a secret I had kept for, 20 plus years. I was very frightened of this ever being revealed. And once I had to confront it, because what's interesting, Andrew, is when you've got so much love coming into you and you have someone, a partner, who's showing up and being so present and so loving and touching you so reverently, and their eye contact, their gaze is right with you. They're not missing a beat. To have that expression of love come at you, it can be a little overwhelming. And what I came to see was that when you've got that much love coming in, whatever isn't love has a chance to come to the surface and be released, so that there's more space in your body to feel loved. And that really describes my experience. Was this secret that was shrouded in darkness had a safe place to come to the surface without any judgment. And I got to go really deep because I could feel where I was holding guilt and shame and fear in my body. This place where I always just thought was a temple for pleasure, it turned out to have a lot of sore spots, a lot of tenderness, a lot of feelings that were like burning. So when my sacred spot was first activated, it wasn't, multi-orgasmic female ejaculation woohoo that I had read about. It was, oh my God, there's so much grief here. There's a little girl here that needs protecting. So it was like a shamanic experience of having a container created that was really safe, and a place where I got some skill sets and tools to practice releasing that which wasn't love. So for me, there was a lot of shame connected to my abuse. So I had to go into inquiry, like, what does shame really feel like, especially in my genitals? And there's a sensation, there's a voice, there's a sound, and the shame that I was holding wanted out. It didn't want to live there. It didn't want to hold me back. It wanted out of my body. So by going to the Muir seminar, I learned how to breathe while receiving Sacred Spot. I learned how to find my voice by expressing the sound of the sensation I was feeling, and that is what peeled back the layers of this really painful experience. And I got it out of my body, not through a lot of talk therapy, through sound, through breath, through intention, and through a safe space. And to have the masculine hold that for me, it really renewed my faith in the opposite sex. And it renewed my faith in who I am. And I started to wake up, and my pleasure became so powerful and so immense, and my relationship to spirit became so much more real. And the breakthroughs continue to happen. I've been doing this now for a decade, and I've still got more work to do. There's still more layers, and I think it's exciting. Every time I hit a wall, I know that that's my next big growth opportunity, and my body continues to open, and I love it.
Awesome. So now there's a couple of things that bring me to the table to ask. First of all, when was this, and then where was this located at that you did this workshop at?
Well, my first workshop was with Charles and his former wife and forever sweetheart Caroline in Santa Cruz, and this was back in I think 2002 or 2003.
Okay. And now, and then when you let go of this thing, which is called the thing, I mean, I have the for some reason I have the feeling that you had never told anybody about this ever. That's what I'm thinking.
You know, I had told a friend when I was a teenager, and then she had told other people. So my experience of having revealed this really scary secret was that it was betrayed. And so it really, you know, my one experience was so negative that I clamped it back down.
Wow.
And because the abuse happened with a family member, it really complicated things. You know, there was me trying to protect the family member and not wanting things to get back to my home state. And, you know, there were so many layers to the level of fear that was there. And it's been amazing to kind of step into the light. And what I find is that my worst thoughts or consequences have not manifested. Instead, there's just been more love. And, you know, it's like having started to heal it, what I also noticed was that the quality of men that I began to attract became more enriched, and the quality of woman I became, because, you know, you start to clean out what turns out to be kind of messy in relationships. When you've had trauma, it can leak out in ways that can be really painful when they're not dealt honestly. So that's been some of the benefits of doing some of my own personal growth and healing work, is that I believe that my relationships have benefited from me, you know, swimming in the deep end.
Exactly. And now, I mean, let's put it this way. How long did it take you to be able to heal to a level where you could feel comfortable in the bedroom with a male figure there next to you in a very comfortable, loving way? How long did it take for that process to happen for you personally?
I would say that the biggest bulk of really working with sacred spot massage to help heal the sexual abuse, and as it started to transform my everyday life, I think it was a journey that was about 8 to 16 months. It was like peeling back a lot of layers within that time frame. Within about 16 months, I did a tremendous amount of work. So there were levels throughout the whole process where I was still reaching ecstasy. For every painful layer that got peeled back, there was more space and therefore more expansion in my body. So every time I did a big piece of processing, what got returned to me was a bigger breakthrough of pleasure. Like, it was almost like my pleasure expanded and got bigger and better after each painful contracted release. So I was rewarded throughout the entire process. It wasn't like I had to deal with a lot of pain before I could open. I was it's kind of like a rubber band, Andrew. It's like you expand and then you contract, and you expand and then you contract. And that's really what my experience was like. I would have to go through a contraction in order to reach a new level of expansion. And it was like peeling back layers of an artichoke. You know how when you eat an artichoke, like there's a morsel of tender, succulent sweetness with every bitter leaf?
Yeah,
but for the most part, those top leaves are pretty bitter. They're not very edible. And then, like, you keep on getting down to softer leaves, but then you get to the choke. And the choke is gnarly, man. It gets stuck in your throat. It makes you gag. It's not pleasant. You got to get that choke out. And then what's left is the most mouth-watering heart.
The meaty, the yummy part of it all. No kidding. Awesome.
Yeah, it's worth the work.
Well, and that is so true. That is so true. And now the thing that I'm seeing about this is that you have control over this now, because there's a lot of people that get sexually abused, and they get caught up in the victim syndrome, the codependency program, and they never grow out of it. They never get out of it. They don't know how. They've never been shown how. They've never been able to be able to. And so this allows you to control that and let it go in a way that's safe and comfortable for you without having to, pull your hair out or, do anything that's outrageous.
Well, it was an exhilarating day when I let go of being a victim. It was, what a breakthrough, what an aha experience, total liberation. And it took a lot of work, but I got to a place where I no longer felt sorry for myself, where I no longer felt like I was the girl who was abused. That's not my experience anymore. It's different. It's a different story. I have completely reworked the history. One of the things that Charles taught me that has impacted me on such a profound level is that the past, the present, and the future are all happening at the same time.
Absolutely.
And when I was experiencing sacred spot massage, especially the sessions that were the most cathartic, like I was really getting what felt like a demon out of my body, I was able to go through, I had these pivotal moments in the experience where Charles would guide me to open my eyes and take present love back into the past. And as I took that present love back into the past, I was able to make choices that I didn't know I had when I was 6 years old. I didn't know I had those choices when I was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I could go back and say to the person who was abusing me, open your eyes. Stop. I'm going to tell Mom. If you want to touch me, you have to open your eyes and you have to love me. I could choose consciousness. I could ask God to help me. I could find an adult. I could go in and actually change my history so that my present was transformed and so that my future was now different. And when I got stuck, I could call on the future Leah 5 years from now, who's already seen it all, to help me. So it was like this really trippy experience.
And you're so correct, because you're right. To me, this whole it's all like a computer program, and you're right. Everything's happening simultaneously, the past, present, and future. And you can either be conscious, choose to be conscious right now, and shift all of that at one time, right here, right now, and you're shifting your past and your future, or you can just keep doing what you're doing. And if you like it, fine. If you don't, well, guess what? You can change it.
That's right. How empowering. When you don't know that that's possible, there's a lot of depression. When someone can shine the light, I truly felt liberated from this thing that I'd been holding for so long, and I see so many people who come to our seminars who've been holding on to their pain, longer than I had to. And you're ready when you're ready.
Exactly.
You're ready when you're ready, and it shows up. So I just really empower the listeners tonight, any of them who have had trauma on any level, even if it's verbal, emotional, physical, sexual, spiritual, that their transformation is possible, liberation is possible, and it's actually easier than you might think. And what I love about Tantra is that you can really do it through pleasure. You can do it with a yes versus a no, and that's amazing.
That's awesome. So, Charles, I gotta ask you this, and I'm sure that many people ask you this. So, what is this technique? Is there several different methods that you use for this particular procedure, or is there just one that you just do it with different things go on in your life?
Well, at our weekend seminars where I introduce people to this work, the guys learn 9 different strokes. They learn 5 different hand mudras that have to do with affecting the energy. They learn about energy. They learn about breathing. They learn how to be totally present in their love for a woman, no matter what she's saying or doing.
Awesome. And now, how often do you have these retreats, and how much do they cost?
Well, we do them here in Northern California every 2 months, and then we also do them in Boston and New York, Southern California, LA, San Diego,
Colorado,
Boulder, Colorado, Reno, Hawaii,
Ashland, Oregon.
Hawaii and Ashland, Oregon. So that's a few stops. People come to our website, sourcetantra.com, and they can get my schedule. They can learn all about the products we've developed so you can learn Tantra at home. And there are also 40 educational articles that the media has written about the seminars, and some amazing stories that people have written about their experience, and we've posted them up on our website. It's a fun website to go to.
Awesome. And I mean, I'm assuming that your guys' success stories are a mile long. I mean, you can't even count on them. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Charles being an originator for the past 32 years, he really has the most successful Tantra school in the country. And it's an exciting thing to be a part of. The weekend seminars are $450 per person. We've got payment plans, and it's really the target audience is really mainstream America. So for people who aren't necessarily in the New Age community, they're going to feel comfortable and up to speed. For the people who are in the New Age community, they're going to feel like they found their people. They're going to understand the language. So what Charles has been able to do is he's been able to take this information that's very esoteric, that comes from the East, and reframe it so that everyday Americans can grok it and be transformed by it.
Now, let me ask you this. John Bradshaw, Toxic Shame. What do you think about that book?
Is that where he talks about 30% of women being molested?
I don't remember. There were some percentages mentioned in that, but he talks about how this whole thing has been going on for generations. This whole sexual abuse thing has been going on from generations, 3, 4, 5 generations, and people are just quiet about it. Then it's so toxic and so out of hand that people they refuse to talk about it anymore because they're afraid they're going to get hurt or somebody's going to do something or whatever. I mean, but he spells out a lot of stuff in there that I thought was very useful for people to even learn to become aware of this whole thing and understand what's going on within their lives or other people's lives as well.
Sure. Well, in addition to physical sexual abuse, there's an emotional abuse that we all were given. We were given shame and fear and guilt in that chakra, and that's not the way God created it. So we need practices that help make that chakra healthy again. And Sacred Spot is that. It's worked directly on the chakra and the psyche to remove the residues of the past that don't serve us so that we can actually love from our genitals, connected to our heart, and connected to all of our consciousness. And the fourth connection is just inviting God into bed with you. You, your partner, and God. Here's a prayer. This is love making.
Awesome.
And that's the beauty of Tantra. It's an art form that you can learn and master, and we all need to be better at giving and receiving love and pleasure. And pleasure is good for us. The Buddha didn't say pleasure is bad. He said attachment to pleasure, it causes suffering.
Absolutely, and that's such a good point. And I want to thank you for saying that because that's so true. Because people are afraid to enjoy themselves or just be themselves because they're afraid that something good is going to go bad. And why does it need to happen that way? Why does it even need to go there at all? Why do people even need to think about that?
And I think it's an important point because a lot of people can look at Tantra as something that could be scary or kind of dark or hedonistic because there's so much talk about orgasms. And that's awesome. I mean, orgasms are like signposts along the way that the body is opening, that the energy body is starting to flow, that you can run more current, more Shakti, that the body is now being prepared to have these expanded experiences. But orgasms are not the goal. It's a path of love. It's really about more love. And when you've got more love pleasure just seems to naturally go along with it.
Absolutely.
So we really try to take the goal out of sex when it comes to re-educating our students around how to really show up in the bedroom. When you can take the goal out of sex, then it really takes the pressure out of performance, and then you just get to be playful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know, and it's so fun to be playful because there's so much stuff you can tap into that you wouldn't even think about, or you wouldn't even consider unless you just got in that mode in that presence, which is awesome. So I tell you what, let me go like this. Every month I air an album, a music album, and we usually play one song out of that album to halfway through, and we send out love, blessings, healings, angels of light, and love with the songs that we play. And so this month we have the album called Written in Blood, produced by Gabriel Yaiva. In fact, they had a concert last night over in Flagstaff, which I went to and I aired. It was really awesome. There was some really nice stuff. It was all hip hop. I don't really get into hip hop, but it was just so amazing. These guys had such a positive attitude that I really enjoyed it, and I was surprised about that. So it was pretty cool. But we're gonna play the Hopi Prayer song by Gabriel, produced by Gabriel Yaiva from his album Written in Blood. And we're gonna send out love, blessings, healings, angels of light and love to you guys, to Charles and Leah here, and all your family and friends. And to all those people here in the chat room and the phone lines, all our family and friends, and also to all the lovers out there that are just to all the lovers, period. And then to all the babies out there, and to the President of the United States, to all the people that need this, just need this prayer. Anybody else you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, my son Orion and Kola in Hawaii.
Okay. Anybody else, Leah?
Yeah, my dad and my whole family and every beloved who's ever touched my life, and all the future beloveds that I get to touch.
Okay. It's a very short song. The Hopi Prayer song, it takes a little bit for it to start, and then we'll be back in a few and continue this conversation about the sacred spot and Tantra. Aloha. This is Andrew Aloha live out of Sedona, Arizona with Spiritual Image Productions on Blog Talk Radio and FreeCompetency.com, establishing and maintaining right relationships through human values. Welcome back, and right now we're at the Mystic Earth Galleria, owned by Bear Cloud, who is an amazing artist. It's across the street from Tlaquepaque here in Sedona, Arizona, and at the Y. People call this place the Y. So we're here with Charles Muir and Leah Alchin. Alchin, is that how you say your name, Leah?
Yeah, it's Leah Alchin.
Oh, Alchin. I apologize about that. I've been saying Alchin all this time. I don't know why, but Alchin. I apologize. We've covered quite a bit so far, and I just think you guys can sit here and probably talk about this all day long and never get tired of this. That's what I think.
Well, I think what we should talk, and maybe Leah could start, is where the sacred spot is and a little bit on how to touch it, because that's something that people can, who are listening, could maybe try this very night.
Okay, go with it. I'm good with that.
So, can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're doing fine.
So, when you're looking for the female sacred spot, as a woman, ladies, what you're going to want to do is to enter your yoni, and yoni is the name that we use in Tantra for the female genitalia, if you don't know that yet, and it translates to sacred space from Sanskrit. So right there, just renaming how you refer to something can either empower it or disempower it, can either give it a feeling of like dirtiness or reverence. In our culture, we have like dirty talk and baby talk when it comes to our genitals. And what I love about Tantra is it provides us with some pillow talk. So when you want to come into your sacred space, into your yoni, I usually like to use one finger or two, and with the palm facing your pubic hair, you would enter yourself and curl your fingers forward towards the front wall. And what you'll notice as you explore is that the higher you go, you'll start to feel the pubic bone, and the tissue feels smooth and silky. And then as you draw the fingers down, like in a come hither motion, like if you were looking at a lover and curling your finger to ask them to come closer, it's the same kind of motion. You go inside and you curl your finger and you bear down, and you're looking for the tissue that, you know, kind of feels like a nose. It's kind of it's soft, it has some give, but it has ridges that go across it. And the ridges feel like the tissue that's at the roof of your mouth. If you were to bring your tongue to your upper palate, you'd feel those ridges. Our sacred spot that's actually the tissue of the G-spot, has those ridges as well. And then you just start applying different types of pressure. In our weekend seminars, we teach 8 different strokes for the sacred spot to activate the area.
Got it. So, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to add that this is erectile tissue. So as blood starts to fill the tissue, it becomes more engorged. And one of the things you want to play with is squeezing the vaginal muscles, called the pubococcygeus muscle. If you can start to squeeze that, some women will be familiar with that muscle because they'll have a connection to the Kegels when they've been pregnant to prepare themselves for birth. It's like you want to squeeze the pelvic wall and the pelvic floor. So if you squeeze on your finger, you can start to feel the sacred spot become more activated. And at first, it may feel numb. You may not have a lot of sensation, and that's really normal and very common. It takes some conscious touch for this area to start to wake up and become more sensitive. So don't be discouraged if at first you think, I don't think I have a sacred spot. I can't feel anything. That's like so common. And yes, you do have a sacred spot. The sacred spot itself, if you can look for the pulse within the tissue, it's so touching and so profound because you can start to feel your heartbeat all the way down in your yoni. And when you can feel that pulse, it's an indication that you're directly on the sacred spot. And there lies the psyche of our sexuality. So everything having to do with the opposite sex, both good and not so good, can be felt there.
When you do this, is it possible if somebody activates that and they do it, is it possible to do it in the wrong way so that if you'll just like all of a sudden be really angry or really mad or set you off in a way that won't be healthy for you or something like that?
Well, there's within the sacred spot is the energy of repressed rage. So as much as there can be the most profound pleasure of your life, so can be the expression of repressed rage. So sometimes, there's a lot of anger that can be released, but God, don't you want to get that anger out? I mean, if you could just have a container where someone could hold space and you could really scream and yell and give yourself that voice, your body is better off without that rage being stuck in there. So I always encourage the women to welcome all the emotions. And Charles is a master of teaching the men how to hold space for the most uncomfortable emotions to be released from a woman's body.
That's awesome.
And that's really important coaching before you start poking around in this area.
Exactly. I mean, because this can be so very therapeutic, but I think sometimes it seems like it could be so like such a hurricane or such a storm too. And you're right. With the proper training, people can learn how to channel this and work with this in a comfortable space that's safe for everybody.
Right.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what. Now, is there some other process? And you're saying there's 8 different types of strokes that you can do to enhance different properties or different emotions, maybe, or different pleasures. Is that what I hear you saying?
Well, it's different strokes which move the energy different. We're dealing with an energy center. So we're trying to move the energy and remove any blocks in it. So if you just poke it in the same area, just poking, you'll numb out the area. Whereas if you have a variety of strokes, like a massage, it tends to work with the tissue, the muscle that you can be massaged for that area. And if you teach men a little bit about energy, they don't have to understand energy or even believe in it. If you teach them a couple of techniques, they'll usually give it a try, and it's quite amazing what can happen if you tenderly, consciously put loving energy into this area. And it's not, like the Sahara Desert. It's a small area. We're talking about 1.5 inches square. So we're trying to paint as many vectors of energy in that area as we can. And a person can learn to get the energy to go beyond the skin of their finger. We don't end at our skin. We do have this energy body, and that's not a philosophy. That's a reality that you can actually use with a little bit of training.
Exactly. So now, let me go, because there's some callers on the line, and are you okay with taking some questions, or you guys open to that?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I don't know that anybody else has questions. I know that one person has a question at least, so we're just going to go with that. And this guy, his name is Stanley, because I do a number of shows. One of them is a psychic show, a challenge show, relationship show, and he's been on at least 2 or 3 of the shows minimum, and he's out of Chicago. Aloha, Stanley. How are you?
Aloha, Andrew. How are you? How's everyone?
It's all good.
So how are you doing, Stanley? We haven't heard from you in a long time.
I'm okay. I'm working on my projects and everything, and I've been real busy. But I enjoyed the show, and it was a real touching show. Oh God, it was a real touching show, and especially the part about the sexual abuse and everything. But I really don't want to get into that. But yeah, and I just wanted y'all to pray for a friend of mine right now. She is stage 4 cancer, and she's not doing so good. She's not gonna, be here real long. So I just wanted you to, Andrew, you are real spiritual and everything. God has the last word. So I just, for the listeners and everybody, just pray for my friend. Her name's Alicia.
Okay, so Stanley, we're going to go like this. We're going to send out 100,000 angels of light and love to your friend Tanisha, that they overshadow her, protect her, assist her, guide her, support her in any way that they can and are able to, and that they be present with her as much as at all times until her last breath on this planet. How's that?
Praise God. Yeah.
You okay with that?
Yes. Real good. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
Andrew.
awesome. Thank you, Stanley. Thank you for stopping by. Aloha.
You're welcome. Aloha.
Now, this next person, I don't know if they want to ask a question, but we're going to put it out there anyhow. Area code 425. Aloha, you're on the air.
Hey, Andrew. It's Kathy Hamilton, Flash Meeting Kathy.
Aloha, how are you?
Hello. I'm a marriage counselor, and so I'm always looking for new things to introduce to the people that I counsel. Because, everything that Leah was saying, there's so much, people are programmed. It's just so amazing how programmed they are. And I'm trying to find new techniques to get people, to be not so programmed, to think outside the box. Especially when it comes to relationships, because there's so many marriages that are in so much trouble. So I'm trying to find different things, the perfect kind of a great platform for them to introduce to them. So it's all very interesting. I really listen to it all. But I think that the concept would help so many couples because, they don't even sleep together anymore, and they're so lost. So I kind of like to find out how I can look with or study guides or something.
Ma'am, we can barely hear you.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of bounce back, like an echo.
If you can call us back, that'd be great. Thank you.
Should I say it again?
Yeah, there's like a double echo.
Okay. I apologize, but we can barely hear you. Thank you.
I think if I can
I'll just write you a letter.
Okay, thank you. Aloha.
What I was able to gather from her sharing was that she's a marriage therapist, and that oftentimes it's really challenging because couples have just stopped making love altogether. And in our experience, being seminar leaders and also in our private practice, because both Charles and I work with people both individually and with couples one-on-one, and what happens, it's like the rest of their life really works well, except for what's going on in the bedroom. And when you want to learn how to have a better tennis swing or how to improve your golf swing, you go to an expert, you go to a coach. So more and more couples are seeking marriage counselors and tantrikas, and what's unique about working with a tantrika is that you're invited into the bedroom, and you can really help hold space for each individual's triggers. And when there's been something like sexual abuse in the history, that can numb out the tissue so that there is no more sensation. And that can be really painful. And then you just start to shut down because you're confronted every time you make love with a feeling of inadequacy and not being a success. And that's got to be addressed. And there really needs to be some hand-holding through that process. And at first, when you're practicing some of these tantric techniques like sacred spot massage, it can be a little uncomfortable because what you feel are sensations of burning and tenderness and bruising. And that's not really fun at first, especially when all you want is the relief and you would just like to have some pleasure for crying out loud because you've spent so long without it. So there's a lot of tears that need to flow, and there's some great programs for therapists to share with their clients. We have a home study course that's brilliant. It's a book, it's an audio book, and it's a DVD.
Awesome. And is that available on Amazon.com?
No, it's available at our website, sourcetantra.com. And you can find it right on the home page at the bottom of the page. It's our home study course, and we usually have it for 40% off. It's the best deal we have on the website.
Awesome. And what's the name of that?
There's 3 pieces to the program. It's Tantra, The Art of Conscious Loving, which is our best-selling book. There's also an audio CD program that comes with a 72-page booklet that's got pictures. That's called Freeing the Female Orgasm. And then we have a DVD that really shows real couples practicing sacred spot massage. So you get to visually see the energy transmission and the intimacy, and that's called Secrets of Female Sexual Ecstasy, what every man should know.
I think that'd be a great Christmas present for a lot of guys, huh?
Big time.
So anyhow, we got one more. I don't know if this person wants to come on the air or not, but we're going to ask him anyhow. Area code 954. Aloha, you're on the air. Okay. Yes. Would you like to ask a question, or are you okay with that?
Well, I'm just so enjoying this discussion, and I would just like to hear more about it because I feel that that's a real problem in the female healing process. And if you could explain more of that, that would be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And if you want to ask a question, you can just, click the, I think press number 1, or I can't remember what it is, and then we'll come back to you. So thank you for stopping by, and you can go ahead and stay on the phone if you like, and continue to listen if you like. You okay with that?
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Thank you so much, because this is such an important statement that she's making, and to help females, to empower themselves and to come through this.
Awesome.
Andrew, I'd like to just add something here, because a lot of women, it's a little too edgy to start working with a man right away, especially when a lot of their trauma has to do with the masculine. So what a lot of women will do, if their starting point may be to heal with other women, and we have a women's only retreat where women come together, and each woman has a chance to show up as the one who's birthing herself. She also gets a chance to play the role of the midwife, and she also has a chance to play the role of the doula. And we create this sacred ceremony where women learn to give sacred spot to each other in a healing, non-sexual way, even though we're working with the sexual parts. And sometimes you got to really connect to the sisterhood so that you can open up to the brotherhood. And a lot of women who additionally have had trauma with the mother, sister, daughter dynamic can find a lot of healing in a retreat like that. And we do that at least twice a year in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Got it. So hang on a second. Time out. For some reason, there seems to be. Okay. So anyhow, and you say you're doing this twice a year?
Mhm.
Now, when is the next time you'll be doing it?
Excuse me. The next one is May 18th through the 20th, 2012, in Santa Cruz.
Okay. And then when's the next one after that?
The next one after that will be in the fall, and the dates haven't been confirmed. So
okay.
You have to be on standby for that one.
Okay. So and these are. And how many? Well, first of all, how much does it cost to go to these things? How long do they last? And how many people attend these things?
So the women's retreat is usually tops 18 women, usually 12 to 18 women, and it's $450. We also have one. I should mention that there's one on the East Coast in September. The dates are on the website. I don't know them offhand. 4 of our advanced certified Tantra educators are facilitating that. I believe the tuition on that one is $535, but it includes food and lodging.
Got it. So and usually about how many people attend this thing? And I mean, I'm assuming you sell these out quite a bit. 18?
Yeah. We like to keep it really close and intimate, and in a private space. So 18 max.
Oh, sorry about that. Hang on a second. Yeah, we're going through some technical glitches here now, but I'm working with it. Okay, so and do people come back for these things often, or I mean, how does that work if people want to do that, or I mean, are they allowed to? And how does that work?
Yeah, we are. Graduates are always welcome to come back and repeat a course for half the tuition price, and I would say that a quarter of our seminars are filled with graduates because it's so interesting to do this seminar again. It's like a whole new seminar. There are just things you can't digest everything. So even though it's the same material, you hear things in a totally different way. It makes the program brand new. Got
it. We have about 15 minutes left, and I want to go there. How did you and Charles come together, and how's your love life? I mean, for a better expression of the phraseology.
Charles, I'll let you field this one.
Tantric practitioners, especially teachers, tend to stay out on the edge a little bit. So because we believe that it's good to share this energy, we often don't have traditional relationships. So Leah and I are co-teachers, and we're in business together, and we share love sometime, but neither of us are in the type of relationship we own each other. We value our friendship, and 8 years of friendship is a great friendship. And Leah, I hope to leave this business work in her hands when I retire or die, which comes first.
Well, I got to ask, Charles, are you planning on retiring, or what's going on with that?
Well, I'm 64, and you never know. Right now I'm doing really wonderfully, but I don't know who wants to learn sex from an old guy. You know?
What?
Charles?
You would be surprised. There are many.
I just can't believe you would say that, because I think, there's a lot of men. I think probably most of the populace on this planet, the male figures, couldn't even imagine or fathom being in your shoes right now, because they wouldn't even know where to start. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's a lot of love in my life for which I'm eternally grateful, and it's great to have a job to teach people how to love better. And it amazes me when couples come to us, haven't made love for months.
Or years.
Or sometimes years, and over the course of a weekend or a week-long seminar, they transform their love life, they let go of all their resentment, and they open their hearts again to each other. A lot of couples have closed their hearts to each other, and they've also closed their genitals to each other, and it's only a matter of time before they become a statistic. And that's why it's important that people go and get more educated on how to love sexually. Our course certainly stood the test of time. We've had over 32,000 people take the course, and we're probably the best-known Tantra school, certainly in America, but our teachers are all over the planet teaching. So I just think people should take a look at, where did I learn to be a great sexual lover? And if the answer is nowhere, it's time to get an education. It's good for you, and it's good for your partner.
Speaking of education, Charles, did you go to college? Did you major in anything, or you just got it all from the School of Hard Knocks?
No, I went to school, and I went into the ashram and the army, came back, went back to school, and before I finished my degree, which I was majoring in psychology, I decided that it was yoga and yoga psychology that I wanted to specialize in. So that's where the ashrams came into play for me. I got to be with direct masters, of which I learned a lot of technique and a lot of presence. And I think that was better than any degree, even advanced degrees. I've been offered a couple of degrees, and I've always turned them down.
Now, let me ask you this. Who are some of the masters, the more renowned ones that you studied with, that you felt were most instrumental for you?
Well, Swami Satchidananda was the one I spent the most time with. He passed away now. Swami Satyananda, Swami Madhavananda, Richard Hittleman, who brought a television program in the 50s called Yoga for Health. I studied and represented him for 12 years. But the teacher really that I honor the most is the one that lived in all of our hearts, just waiting for us to connect with it, quiet our busy mind and connect with that presence that dwells in our heart. That's
the
where
God
the
within.
teacher is.
The God and Goddess within. Is that what you're saying?
Indeed.
Awesome. So now, well, anyhow, I had something that I wanted to ask, but I guess it slipped my mind. That's okay. So, and what about you, Leah? Who have you gone to college as well? And what kind of what masters have you studied other than with Charles Muir?
Charles?
And I want to applaud you, Charles. I want to applaud you and commend you for such a great work that you've done. I'm sure that many people will agree with me that the path that you've done is like an amazing milestone for many women and also even men as well. I'm sure of it.
Yes.
So anyhow, Leah, and the question to you is have you been to college, and what other masters have you studied with as well?
No, I've not been to college. My main teacher is Charles. I've studied with Byron Katie and Allison Armstrong of the PAX organization. I've been involved with the Hoffman process. And really, I think my greatest teachers have been the people who I've been privileged to work tantrically with in my private practice, who have just revealed and shown their soul and have guided me along the way and helping me show up, get out of my own way, and just be the love that I am. So I'm very much still in the University of Life, and I'm working on a PhD in relationship like there's no tomorrow. I think it's the hardest spiritual path one can dabble in.
So now with that in mind, what's in the future for both of you?
Well, right now I'm working on next book and 4 new DVDs, training DVDs. We're just having released 2 new ones that people can learn about on our website. One of them is a series with Taoist master Montauk Chia, where we present the Tantra philosophy right alongside the Chinese philosophy on conscious sexuality. He's the foremost authority and teacher on Taoist lovemaking. So a lot of getting the work out there where I don't have to go physically and teach. We do that enough during our lives. So creating some programs where people can learn from home.
Nice.
I would also have to add that our teacher trainings are expanding more and more. We're selling out our level 1 mastery course, which is the first level of our certification process. And we've just added new dates so that we can start to fulfill the needs, because people want to help other people in their life. Once they've gotten a taste of, it's kind of like when you've got Tantra, when you've had tantric sex, you'll never go back to the way it was. And people continue to be inspired by that, and our teacher trainings are expanding, and that's something we're really juiced and excited about.
Now, I want to go back because this person, they have their hand up. I'm not sure if they want to ask a question. So we got a few minutes. and so I want to go ahead and do that. Area code 954. Did you have a question?
Oh, well, I was just wondering, does it actually
Ma'am, do me a favor. First of all, tell us what your name is, where you're located at, how did you hear about us, and can you speak up louder so we can barely hear you, ma'am?
You know, Andrew, I'm going to let Leah handle the rest of this call because I have to take care of my diabetic needs. So she'll finish the call with you. We're getting a lot of bounce back here.
Yeah. We're that's what my tech person has been telling me. And so, go ahead, Leah. Well, and I want to add, and I want to thank you for being here, Charles. I appreciate your taking the time to share with us your valuable information, and hopefully we can bring you back sometime whenever you're ready. If we can get a chance or whatever.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Love your show, and I'll leave you with Leah.
Aloha. And Leah, we got a few more minutes left. What is there anything left that you have that you want to cover that you haven't talked to us about yet?
Well, tonight's been really dedicated to talking about women's sexual healing and awakening. And there's so much to say about men's sexual healing and awakening. And I hope that we get invited back to do a show where we can really address what waking up spiritually and sexually looks like for a man, and how as women we can show up to heal the collective masculine. Because if you've wanted more open-hearted men in your life, you can play a massive role in creating a world that's safe for men to have their heart open.
In the broad picture, what does your perfect sexual world look like, Leah?
Well, I've never really considered that one, my perfect sexual world. I think my perfect sexual world would be a place where people could feel pleasure in an effortless, joyful way. There's so much pain connected to people not being able to feel pleasure in their bodies, who feel really disconnected to their body. So my perfect world would be a place where each individual is fully embodied, like really joyful about the privilege of being in this human temple form and being able to express themselves artfully in their body as it relates to the bedroom and beyond the bedroom.
So we got about 2 or 3 minutes left, and I don't know. Now, well, the other thing too is that you and Charles are lovers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so, but you're both in an open relationships. Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
And so, how does that work for you guys? Do you guys, in terms of working on that level?
Well, it's not something that we really teach in our seminars because it's such an individual thing, and there's so many people who are experts in the field of polyamory, and we really encourage people to visit them and do seminars if they're looking for a more polyamorous lifestyle. For us, it's just about living a life with more love in it, and something about jealousy can really take you to edges of healing and growth, and sometimes it's painful and hard, and sometimes there are breakthroughs and it's easy. And me personally, I've certainly been through so many permutations of how to navigate an open relationship, experiencing the jealousy and the expansion, and also freedom from jealousy. So it's ever evolving.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly. And so more for you guys, it's more of a natural experience and something that you've been working for a long time. So
yeah, I think for people who are really polyamorous or interested in open relationship, it's in them. It's like you're born with it. It's not it's something that feels right to have more than one partner, and that's not true for everybody. Okay. It's something you have to feel, a felt sense that gives you more happiness.
Thank you. And thank you for stopping by, Leah, as well. I wanted to thank you for sharing your valuable information, your experience.
10 seconds.
Here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And have a God this weekend. Be the love that you are, always have been, and always will be. Aloha.
Aloha.